What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 30-minute mission Steel Haze from Armored Core 6. Built entirely from the Nachtreiher frame manufactured by Schneider, it is piloted by V.IV Rusty of the Arquebus Vespers, and acts as our most notable buddy during the Coral War. Made up of 10 runners and an optional decal sheet, I was quite intrigued as to how the Nachtreiher frame builds up, as it is so different compared to everything else I've built during my time. Sure enough, that statement extends to the build as well thanks to the unorthodox design of the unit, and despite it being called a 30-minute missions kit, it took me well over an hour just to get the kits built, which is closer to a standard high grade more than anything, and it does feel like that too. The structure itself shouldn't trouble anyone, however the one issue I ran into was some of the gate placement, since there are a handful that were placed dangerously close to some surface sculpting. Coupled with the darker plastics, it can make the kit quite problematic to clean up after. On top of that, I'm personally not sure why, but building this was more taxing compared to Nightfall, but that could just as easily be a me problem. If anything, if you're looking for a fresh build brought about by unusual looks, this kit will do just that. For the aesthetics, the 30-minute mission's Steel Haze looks awesome from a cursory glance. Having to jam-pack the mechanical details of the game unit into a kit with simple construction is no mean feat, and a closer look at the part separation, especially that on the torso, goes to show how well Bandai already did with providing as much color with as simple of a build as possible. On top of that, the highly detailed surfaces also display their molding prowess, as they are plentiful, sharp, and begging to be brought out with some dark panel liner. But there are a few issues I have with the looks. Sure, it looks spot on for those who want to strip it for Nachtreiher parts, but the brown should be a bit darker while the frame should be richer for a fully accurate depiction of Steel Haze. Yes, there are also very small missing paint apps like pistons, vents, sensors, and shoulder unit details, but that's neither here nor there in the grand scheme of things. And while objectively people have issues with how the head aspects are rounded off, I also think it looks way too proportionally small when compared to the game model. Never mind the constantly outstretched neck. Bottom line is, besides the head, the kit translated the angular and rounded, lanky and futuristic aesthetic, and reversed legs that aren't reverse joints somehow into model kit form well. As such, I think it serves as a great basis for those who are looking for these parts for a custom build. As Steel Haze, however, a lot of work would need to be done for an accurate depiction. Articulation wise, the head is on a ball and swivel neck, and because it is so small, the range of motion isn't restricted in any way. The arms are on standard ball joints. The shoulder armor can move out of the way of the arm raise. There's a bicep swivel, and single jointed elbow. The ball joints at the waist provides the crunches and full waist rotation, while the ball joints at hips provide some decent to great kicks towards all directions, with the double jointed leg binders providing further adjustability. Finally, there's a single jointed knee, double swivel feet, and ball jointed boosters. Articulation is pretty fair for Steel Haze altogether, and posing it is rather solid and smooth despite the weird feeling handling. However, it is worth noting that parts like the shoulder and ankle joints are quite rigid with next to no reinforcement, so be careful when moving them lest you separate or break them. In terms of accessories, there are no additional hands, but rather dorsal hand armor to expose or obscure the hard point on the left arm. As for weapons, the MAE-211 Sampu Burst handguns start off the handhelds. A rather interesting sidearm with a U-shaped magazine, this version sandwiches into the right hand for use, as the left arm version is exactly mirrored. Besides, the hardpoint on the top of the gun allows it to be stored on the weapon racks as well. On the other hand, Steel Haze also uses the MAJ200 Lansetsu RF burst rifle. Featuring a detailed yet more conventional design, it simply slides into the hand for use. However, it's usually stored on the weapon rack by being plugged in and clamped on in place of a signature weapon, the VVC 774LS Laser Slicer. Mounted onto the left arm for use, both the open and closed forms are included separately in the kit. And while the closed form can be stored on the weapon rack along with the arm mount, the opened form simply replaces the closed form on the frontmost slit for deployment, and features a rotating blade for extra adjustability to reproduce the furious slashes and slices seen in the game. Finally, the VVC 703PM plasma missile launcher is mounted onto the backpack's right side and features two swivels for adjustability. And besides just sitting on the right shoulder as the unit's missile load, the symmetrical design allows you to simply rearrange the connections for swapping it over to the other side for your other armored core units. If I can sum up the 30-minute mission Steel Haze in one word, it would be weird. But let me put this forward first. The kit itself is physically solid, it looks mostly accurate to the in-game model, and the weapons are fairly unique, with the inclusion of a weapon rack being a good bonus that the rest of the Armored Core 6 kits lack, at least those as of the vanilla banana frame and milk tooth. Thankfully, Weapon Set 6 was announced during the production of this video, with both left and right weapon racks. Well, better late than never, I guess. Yet, I find the quirks of the Nachtreiher frame to be its biggest hindrance, and that's not for a lack of trying on Bandai's part either. Its hyper-detailed sculpting is a spot of bother for gate placement. The non-reverse jointed legs look straight in a pose no matter how they're bent, and not to mention the awkward looking head that culminates in an objectively good kit that just rubs me the wrong way. Then again, that might just be due to how unorthodox a good number of Armored Core designs are compared to the mechas that Bandai typically produces. If anything, the aforementioned merits separate Steel Haze from the angular and tough looking releases so far, while providing faithfully sculpted Nachtreiher parts for your own use. Meanwhile, there's not a whole lot that needs doing if character accuracy is your aim. But ultimately, I do feel a bit iffy regarding the 30-minute mission Steel Haze despite all of its merits, especially compared to all of the other releases so far. I'm so sorry buddy, maybe Yanase's interpretation would have been a much better option. And that's all for me. Thank you for watching, drop a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content like this, and feel free to follow me on social media with the links down below. That said, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out guys. Bye bye.